Hello, I'm Emma of Granola Gear, and I'm so excited to be chatting with you again today with another podcast episode. If I'm not mistaken, this is actually my 20th episode, so that's exciting. I started doing this more consistently probably 7 or 8 months ago, and it's been a good time. I don't really have a lot of knitters in my life, so it's nice to sit down and chat with the internet and then see you guys' comments. I really appreciate everyone who shows up and comments like every single video. It's amazing. It's so much fun. It's a community, and it's nice to be a part of it when it's something that you do so much but you aren't necessarily involved face to face with people like that. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who watches these videos. It means the world to me. And even without a bajillion viewers, I have a fun time doing these. It's nice to sit down and chat about knitting. And that's what we're going to do today. So today I'm wearing my Cumulus tee that I knit into a long sleeve that was a finished object last week. And I love this. I've already worn it to work once. It's the perfect fit. As you can see, it's just, I love it. I love it. So soft and comfortable. And the V-neck is perfect. It's not too deep or anything. And I really enjoy it. So I love this piece. It's knit in an unraveled cashmere yarn from two different thrifted sweaters. Excuse me, sorry. But yeah, I love this piece. It's like this beautiful pale pink, which is a color that I love dearly. So I will get into finished objects first. And this first one, I gotta say, I'm gonna be honest, because I'm honest about these things. I got beef with this pattern. It's done, but I got beef. And that's the Beatrix cardigan by Gregoria Fibers. And I say, first of all, it's nothing really particularly to do with the design. It's not like a super poorly written pattern or anything like that. Like, I love Gregoria Fibers. I've tested it for her. Her stuff is beautiful. I love it. I just did not like how my piece came out. I think that may have a lot to do with not understanding, based on the images that I saw of this, what the fabric of the piece was actually going to be. And yes, I did knit a swatch, but I think I steam blocked it. I didn't wet block it. I was really kind of hoping that there would be more change when I wet blocked it. And once it was a full piece, then there actually was. I don't know. I had a lot of thoughts in my head about this. And in the end, I was just not happy with it. A lot of it's like a fit thing, and some of it's fabric. So I knit the size 2, and it's knit on 5mm needles. I understand why people do the size 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever thing, but I'm not the biggest fan, because I think it's important to have some kind of reference for what size you would normally be, especially if it's not a designer that you knit a lot. Like, if I know that I pretty much always knit the size small, but based on measurements it's telling me something totally different, then like maybe there's something wrong there, or I need to like consider what, if it's me that's having an issue or if it's the pattern that's having the issue, you know what I mean? So I picked the size 2 because that made sense for me. My gauge was pretty similar, maybe a little off, but not off enough for the issues that I had. I had mentioned last time that the sleeves were looking really small. And they were, and they are. I blocked them out. I stretched them as much as I could, especially the cable on the top, and they're just too short. My issue with this is that the pattern is written by number of rows for each thing, and I think that's fine for rates of decreases. Like every 5th row, every 12th row you decrease. That's fine. That's a rate of decrease. That's different. But I do think there should be some kind of reference for what the actual length of the sleeve is supposed to be, just for minor gauge differences, for like reference if you want to make it longer, just so that you know and understand, like, we're giving lengths for ribbing, why aren't we giving lengths for the whole sleeve? So I have no idea what length this sleeve is supposed to be, but it's way too short on me. I'll obviously put in a video to show this. It's almost not bad, but the cable on the top is really tight. So it just doesn't, it fits really odd. I could make these longer. I thought about it, but honestly, I'm not sure if I'm a big enough fan of my finished project as a whole to go back and put that effort in. This might be something that just goes to someone else, or goes to someone smaller that I know who has interest in it. I don't love the decreases on this sweater. I don't think that looks super good. Thought maybe it would be space for your elbow, but it isn't really. I need more space on the top of this arm than I do at the bottom of this arm. Um, yeah, so they're just generally too short. Hello, this is Editing Emma. I just wanted to add another note to like clarify this because I just filmed on the try-on video. It looks okay in that video. I think part of it is because I'm wearing a long sleeve underneath, which is like the friction of that is holding the sleeve down more. But the thing that makes it feel weird is because the braid is tighter on the top of the arm, on my elbow where like that bend is happening, that braid doesn't want to stretch with my elbow, so it like spins the sleeve in the center a little bit. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's like just having a tight stripe across the top of the arm. It doesn't want to lay in the correct place the whole way down because it doesn't have enough flex right there. Like there isn't enough yeah, there just isn't enough flex. There isn't enough room or like amount of fabric for it to stretch with my elbow in a natural way. So it makes the sleeve pull and twist and just feel kind of uncomfortable. I just feel like I couldn't articulate it really well when I was filming it the first time, what exactly was wrong, but that's it. So back to previous filming, Emma. The other thing is I knit the body longer because this was also by rows, and I was shocked when I counted because I assumed I had quite a ways to go on the like body fabric, that I was like well over the number of rows you're supposed to do. So I just moved on. I did the ribbing. I figured it'd be fine. The other thing is I don't understand why these cables and the buttons are added on afterwards, like the buttonholes. I assumed that the reasoning behind this band being added on after you knit the body was because that the buttonholes were integrated somehow and they couldn't be knit otherwise. But it's not like a ribbed button band where you're knitting horizontally, so you can't knit it with the rest of the body. It is knit vertically. It's not like something like the champagne cardigan where it's a double knit button band that you add on afterwards and the buttonholes are knit like integrated in that. You couldn't knit that at least very easily. I don't think you could knit it as you go. Plus it's continuous around the whole neck in the champagne cardigan. I think that's usually the case, is it's continuous around the whole way because it's got some kind of V-neck situation, and that's why you add it on afterwards. This is just the two lapel bands, and it totally could have been knit with the body, I think. Like if you were, as you were knitting the front sides where the sleeve holes are added, hopefully you can see this in frame, you'd just cast on more stitches once you finished these increases and then knit that along with the rest of it. So maybe it was too complicated. I don't know. I didn't write the pattern. I just don't totally understand. Also, the buttonholes are not integrated with the button band. There's a separate information about how to make them. I didn't do that because I didn't like it, and I just crocheted buttonholes. I mean, super simple. I also didn't use shank buttons because I didn't have any I liked, and I couldn't find any at the store that I liked, so I just used little buttons. And I like the look of this in theory, but I don't like the look of the gaping buttonholes in practice. There was no specifications for specifically where to place the buttons. You just placed them. So it didn't matter that I had knit mine longer. If I had realized that, I probably would have knit it even more longer. Same thing for the button band. Like I could have knit it longer. I just had to keep going. Like there wasn't some special magical reason that they had to be done that way. And I think my other gripe is the collar is just too big. I don't know if it would have to have been longer, if the neck hole had to be smaller. I just feel like it's falling off my shoulders. And I don't have that with other saddle. I've knit cardigan number 9, and I feel like there's another saddle shoulder pattern that I've knit that I can't think of at the moment. But it just doesn't fit right. It fits weird. I think maybe the neck, I don't know, maybe the neck isn't high enough. There were very short rows in the back panel, but maybe they needed to be bigger. I don't think it sits high enough. So then it's like all my neckline is like weird. I don't know. It's just uncomfortable. I mean, you'll see it in the video. It's just not my favorite. This just doesn't fit me overall. It may be in part because of my impression of the pattern based on the photos and the sample photos. I don't think there's a really good like detailed flat lay that's not super artistic. I kind of thought maybe mine would be a little different because I didn't use mohair, but it's still a pretty fuzzy yarn, and I just expected this to be a dense fabric, and this is the back, but I've showed this before. It's so meshy, and there's like no, I thought it would flatten out and that these stitches would, I don't know, kind of come together a little bit in blocking. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, you might hear all this and be like, that's all your fault. That's fine. I just, the stitches, I really just don't think it's made for a whole fabric. And plenty of people make this and they love this, I guess. Or there aren't a huge number of projects on Ravelry, but the ones I've seen, people like it. But it's every other row you knit 2 stitches, well, yarn over, knit 2 stitches, and then slip the yarn over those 2 stitches. And it's just really hard. You can't really get that tight because you have to be able to pass the yarn over the 2 stitches to get that. It wasn't wildly annoying to knit. I could generally do it without looking most of the time. It just not psyched about the finished product. What else? Did I have any other notes? No, that's pretty much it. I don't think I'm gonna fix it because I don't think I like it enough as a whole to fix it. I don't know if it was me just picking a pattern that wasn't good for me or if it's the pattern. That's my beef. That's my beef. I'll move on now. I'm sorry. So the next finished object, on a much more positive note, was the Maggie vest. I haven't had like 2 finished objects in a long time because I've just been cranking out like 1 every 2 weeks, which is, I mean, plenty. I don't care. I haven't had a lot going on in the last few videos, I feel like, because I've been working on some projects I wanted to get out of the way. So I'm happy with these. And this I love. It's the Maggie vest by Petite Knit. I didn't love the Maggie sweater, the short sleeve one, though I do see how it'd be really cute with long sleeves. Like I had said, in my planning for the fall winter, I want more vests this year, and I really like this. I love the button band. I think it's super duper cute. This is like, I forgot to mention for the Beatrix cardigan, unraveled sweater yarn, like a pearl gray from a thrifted sweater. This is Jody Long Chow, which is a superwash wool in, I believe, the color Midnight. It's a DK weight. I love this. It's so perfect. I've already worn it once. I didn't have any buttons that I liked, so I picked up these like blue, dark blue marbly ones at the yarn store because I didn't really like any of the black ones or any other colors. I felt like it really needed something to blend in because it's like a layering piece. I don't think it needs to be. It's not a statement piece for me, so I didn't want a contrasting button of any kind. I knit the size small. It's knit on 3.5 millimeter needles. DK, like I said. I feel like I wrote really good notes, but I also wrote really bad notes. So I'm trying to remember as I go. Sorry. The only change for me was I did a different rate of pickups for the button band. I needed to do a faster rate of pickup, and I was worried that I would block it out and then the button band would be really floppy, but that was not the case. It's totally fine. When I picked up at the rate she said, I was like way under the number of stitches I was supposed to have. And I was like, that's not right. If I was like 5 off, that would be one thing, but I think I was maybe like 20 off or something crazy. So I was like, I'll just pick up the number that she says, and if I have to go back, it's not that big. So I picked up at that a faster rate, but the right number of stitches, and it blocked out totally fine. It's not like floppy or anything. Worn this, it's beautiful, it's lovely, it's wonderful. I can't wait to wear it more. I don't think I have anything for myself in a navy, like a dark blue, so this is perfect. She's beautiful, and the yarn is wonderful. It's like not too soft, but like it's this nice bounce. It's got a good weight to it and a good drape. The fabric is really nice. I'm obsessed. So that is my other finished object on a much more positive note. It's so simple, but sometimes simple is just what you need. And I found that I feel like I go out of my comfort zone sometimes as far as simplicity with knits. And then I'm like, why did I do that? So I'm going to accept who I am and just knit normal stuff. So let's move on to works in progress. And I've got kind of a lot. I cast on some more stuff because I was kind of in my head excusing like oh, this whip isn't a real whip, so like I can cast on another one, because then it's still only my 3 whips, because I try to do 3, try to have something easier, something more complicated, and then just a third thing. But because I've been train knitting and doing simple stuff, I was saying like that doesn't count because I never work on it in the house. So I still need 3 house projects, but now I have 2 train projects and 3 house projects. So who knows? Who cares? Oh well. We'll start with a piece that's actually a gift knit for my little brother. And this one is, and I started this last year and I recently picked it back up. I mentioned it in the last video, the last podcast, but this is my first update that I've worked on it since. This is a drops pattern, so it's just got like a number for the name, and it's 52-19. I'm knitting it in the yarn that is recommended for the pattern, just out of Coinky Dink, and that is Drops Charisma, which is a DK. And it's, look at this, it's so beautiful. It looks huge because it is steeked. It's got steeked armholes and a steeked like quarter buckle thing. Sorry, I just bumped my mic. It's flopping around a little bit. Let's fix it. I'm trying to find the right spot. I got these little tip protectors that are just clover, like super cheap ones, and they've been really helpful for this because this yarn is very slippery. There we go. You can see it in the front with the steek stitches are right here for the center and then on either sleeve. It feels really long. That's my concern. I'm not sure if it's gonna block out better. I'm a little worried because it's not like you can try it on because the armholes are steeked. So like that's the armhole. It doesn't exist yet. Once I got through, I only had a couple more rows of this like, I know the single stitches, the single contrast stitches in this are usually called lice. I don't know if these are lice, but I only had a few more rows of the lice to do. I was just so tired of it when I put it down. So I got to do the exciting stuff again. And this section right here that I'm working on is a little, it's more difficult. There's no floats to carry at all, but it changes every single row. It's not like super repetitive like something like this is, where you know, like 3 blue, 2 white, 3 blue, 2 white over and over again in that row, and then you switch to the next row. It's like a lot more complicated than that, so I actually have to look at it all the time, but I'm really happy with how it's turning out. I think my next step is going to be probably at some point before I keep going, I'm going to, it's super curled here, but I'm going to sew down the folded edge so I can get a better idea of length. I think I'm gonna have him measure a sweater that he has. This one's gonna be bigger because it's drop shoulder, but I'm just a little nervous. I'm not gonna frog it no matter what. I just might do some psycho sweater surgery. This is the small medium of the men's. I was a little worried about the dimensions that it was showing for that. And I was like, it's fine, that's the smallest of the men's sizes. And the only smaller size was the smallest women's size or something like that. I was like, it's fine, I'll go with it. Yeah, this is a DK, I think. It's been fun. The sleeves will definitely be easier. I'm really getting hot in my sweater now. I was cold before and now I'm hot. It's knit on 3.5 millimeter needles. What else do I have on my list? Yeah, I'm worried about the size of the armholes. The armholes feel really big already. And I'm not done with the pattern. Like that's where I started the armholes and that's where we're at. That feels like that should be done now. So if worse comes to worse, I will sew this steek together up higher. I will yeah, so that it's a smaller armhole if need be. I'm totally fine with doing psychotic sewing, sweater surgery. That's fine with me if I don't have to unravel a huge project. So it'll be fine in the end. It'll look beautiful. That's what we're saying. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. If I have to like take out a section of the sweater and what is it called? In Kitchener stitch it back together, I'm gonna be so mad. I can't even tell you how mad I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be angry. That better not happen. So it's fine. We're gonna say it's gonna be fine. So my next work in progress, I'm very enthusiastic today because I just have so much new to talk about. I may have just started this in the last video, but I've made a lot of progress, and that is the Eurus Slipover by Agio Knits. I'm trying to find the right side. Right now, it's kind of awkward to show you because it's knit like this instead of like this or like this. It's knit horizontally. So let me adjust this tubing so that I can just show it to you a little bit better. Just untie my loop. It's attached to this Noro Hanui. It's a Aran weight pattern. It looks kind of scrunched up now. I know with blocking, it's definitely going to expand, especially because of the cables. This yarn is a 1-ply. It's like this very natural kind of grayish color. The 1-ply is perfect for the cables. I love it. Yep, I think this is yeah, that's actually the back panel, but I mean, obviously I can show you more cables if I show you this direction. It looks small, but once again, blocking, and then there's a big rib edge here. There's gonna be ribbing on the bottom. Like, there's a lot to add to this. I'm knitting the size 1, and it's in on 5mm needles. I was kind of worried about sizes because there is no ease recommendation. There's only 4 or 5 size options, and my ease for the size 1 was 9.5 inches, which is more reasonable. My ease for the second size was 13.5 inches. That felt like a lot, especially for a slipover. It felt like a lot. So I felt it was less of a risk to do the size 1. I don't think it's going to be too tight or anything around my bust. I think that'll be fine. And if I need to make it a little bit longer because you're adding the ribbing on after at the bottom, I can just add more. I don't think that's where there's like a huge difference. But it's, I mean, once you stretch it out, it's pretty long, I'd say. The honeycomb has been really easy to knit. It's just a bunch of 2x2 crosses. I've never knit honeycomb before. I've been doing it without a cable needle because it's way easier and way faster that way. And this is a rustic enough yarn that it causes no issues. It's also not really that scratchy, so I'm definitely going to do the turtleneck. I think that'll look really nice. I think this will be a fun piece. But that is the top there. It's really cute. I love it. I've really been enjoying this. This one has been fun. Like, it takes a while to get through each row, but they don't feel like crazy long. For a while, you're knitting the whole piece at once, but not that much, like just that much. So now I'm only knitting this much back and forth for the back panel. It's probably gonna take me a while, but not a crazy amount of time. I thought maybe it would take a really long time, but I'm feeling good about it. So that's good. Anything else? Yeah, it's a complicated pattern. It's definitely a skill stretch for me. It takes a little figuring out sometimes, but the instructions are good. I would definitely say it's for an advanced knitter, definitely not a beginner knitter because it is confusing. You'd like have no idea what's happening. But if you've knit cables before, you maybe knit an odd construction before, you'll be fine. Like, it's advanced, intermediate, probably advanced. It's a little complicated. It's like the combination of the charts and the instructions, sometimes your head starts to go, whoa, whoa. But yeah, I'm loving that. I think that's going to be really fun. I'm getting closer to being done with that first cake. I'm not sure how long exactly it's going to last me. I have 3 or 4. Kind of a lot. It might be too much. We'll find out. Who knows? So on to my next whip. It's a small one. I'll say first, I haven't made any progress on my baby blankets because I was really tired last week and it just wasn't happening. I cast on the weekend hat with more of that with leftover Jody Long Chow. And so that's a DK in the color Midnight. I've knit the brim. It's not on needles right now because those needles are on the Colorwork sweater. Yeah, it's the brim's kind of bigger than I realized. Maybe I should have made it smaller, but I didn't really have a ruler with me, so I was just winging it. But it is the right length. So for some reason, this sounds really dumb, but I looked at the photo of the weekend hat and I thought that the top portion was stockinette because the way that it's lying down, you can't really tell that the top is the crown part is ribbing. I thought that it was stockinette. So I'm stalled on this a little bit because I don't really want to knit a whole bunch more ribbing. It won't take me that long. I just got to do it. I just needed another hat. This was like enough scrap for a hat. And that's how far we've gotten. Not very exciting. My last whip, when I'm knitting the size medium for that hat, the adult medium. Last whip is, I'll take my cable needle out, the beginnings of finally the Brady Loop sweater. This one was very kindly gifted to me, the pattern, by a viewer, which means the world to me. Thank you so much. I just wasn't able to get to it right away because I had some other big projects I wanted to get off the needles first. So here we go. This is more Jody Long Chow, but this is in the color Pale, which is this really nice, cool pale pink. So the nice thing about it being cool is it doesn't make me look like a ghost. Like this one's a little warm, it's a little on the edge, but maybe because it leans more white, it's okay. But this one is perfect. I think it'll look really nice with my hair. This is the saddle so far, so it sits on the back like this. I just finished this other side. I need to cast the stitches on the back, and then I think there's some short rows. So yeah, I'm knitting size 2. This is by Other Loops. It's on 4mm needles, DK weight. The size 2 is like the normal size for me. See, I'm usually a size 2 because that's usually the size small. Anything else? Yeah, the Other Loops formatting is like a little funky. I don't know if it's because of like a translation or if it's just how they set it up. It's not bad. It's just like it can be a little confusing, but I'm working on it. It's fine. It's been going well so far. So that is all my finished objects for today. I don't have any acquisitions this week, so I thought I'd chat about like some of my plans and planning for this the rest of this season. So I've got a few things on my mind that I've been thinking about. The first one is a sweater for my other brother. He wants something more textured. I was originally, and I kind of wanted to do something textured, not color work. I originally sent him the storm sweater, and he's like, oh, I like the ones that are like textured on the top half, which is like a traditional format of that kind of sweater. And so I looked up a few. There's one, the Journeyman sweater by Knitwits and Yarns that I like and he likes. So I might do that one. I'm going to give him a few more options of some other things too, just to make sure it's what he actually wants before I do that. And I have to pick a color too. His girlfriend knits, so I originally wasn't sure if he wanted me to knit him a sweater, but I figured I probably should because she hasn't knit him a sweater yet, which is fair because they're just dating, they're not married. That's fine. But I didn't want to like take over that spot if she really wanted to do it. But I think she still doesn't get a chance to knit so much. She's focused on knitting it for herself, which is completely fine. Next is Petite Knit just put out photos of the November neck, which is like a cowl sort of situation, but like a big one that's also sort of like the dicky things that people have, which I don't really love that. I get why they exist. I just don't love them with the high neck and like covering the front and the back. I like it because it's more cowl-like. I think it might be a good option for my Noro Ito. It's for a worsted weight, and the Noro Ito is a Aran, so it's a little big, but fine. If it's not quite enough yarn, then the leftover from my Eurus, which I think I will have, might be good for like the button band of that. I've never knit brioche before, so I think it would be a good opportunity for that, and I like the pattern. So I think it would be a new skill thing, not too complicated, because I don't really want to knit a whole brioche sweater. Like, that feels like a lot. I want to start do something small first, because I don't know if I need a whole brioche sweater. But that is a yarn that I've been trying to use, so I think that would be perfect. Next, I'm still debating what to do with my Noro Silk Garden sock solo. I'm sort of hoping that someone will come out with like a turtleneck pattern that's in a sport weight that I like. I don't really want to knit the terrazzo sweater. It's not my favorite fit as far as turtlenecks. I like the Louvre sweater better. I also have been thinking about doing a turtleneck with like big side splits. I've been seeing that a lot, and I feel like that would be really comfy, and I'm into that concept. But there is one I saw that was in a nice blue color, and I think that a blue color would be really nice for a big turtleneck, because I don't think I really have any turtlenecks. I wasn't sure about knitting wools up close to my neck before, so I never really did that. And now I'm feeling like it's fine if I pick the right yarn. I know better about what the right yarn would be, so I'm more confident in making that choice, which is why I think that Noro Silk Garden sock would be good for a turtleneck. Next, I was looking at project pages for autumn alpines because I think I'm just gonna have to suck it up and buy yarn for that if I really want to knit it, especially if I want to knit it this season. And I just have to make a good color choice because I'm not sure. I think I want it to be pretty high contrast, so I think I want the main color to be dark. And I was looking at project pages, and I really like when people added a third color. I don't know if they added it afterwards, like if they added it duplicate stitched on top, but there was one, see if I can find the picture, that was really nice. It was like a dark blue with maybe like an off-white cream, and then it had these reddish orange accents in like the center of the flower, and it looked really good. I think it's a really nice little pop. I might even just exactly replicate that because I really liked that one. I have to look at it a few more projects before I like commit to something. I'll probably buy drops or something for that, but I really want to knit that sweater. And usually if I just kind of wait for the yarn to come to me, it ends up taking a long time, and then I end up just buying it. So I may as well just buy it once I bust through some of the stash that I have now. I try not to get too crazy, but because of my big purchase earlier this year, or like a month ago now, I just have a lot to get through. So I need to get through some of that first, but then that pushes something I really want to knit to like the end of the winter. But that is all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. That means the world to me. I hope you have a great day. Let me know what you've been working on in the comments. I love to hear all about it, or whatever you have to say about this. It's so much fun for me to interact with you guys. I hope you have a great day and happy knitting.